The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Rock Island District has revised its Mississippi River Project Master Plan, and a draft version, which includes an integrated environmental assessment, is now available online for public review. The following presentation gives an overview of the plan, describes how we selected the preferred alternative, and provides details on how you, the public, can provide input before the plan is made final. Master plans are a vital tool to guide the responsible stewardship and management of public lands administered by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Master plans for each civil works project provide the directions for appropriate land management regarding the use, development, and enhancement, protection, and conservation of the natural, cultural, and man-made resources of these projects. The Rock Island District's Mississippi River Project extends 314 river miles from Guttenberg, Iowa, downstream of Lock and Dam 10, to Saverton, Missouri, at Lock and Dam 22, just south of Hannibal, Missouri. It includes roughly 60,000 acres of land in portions of Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, and Missouri, and more than 80% of these lands are forested. Public involvement in the master plan revision process has been critical and has helped us gain a clearer understanding of the river and its many uses. Now that we are nearing the end of the process, we are once again asking for your input. A link to our master plan revision website is available at missriver.org. This site includes a digital copy of the master plan document and its appendices for your review, as well as details on how you can provide comment back to the project. Comments can also be submitted via email to publicinvolvement@usace.army.mil or mailed to the address listed on the screen. Public comments must be received no later than August 20th, 2021 to be factored into the final document. Though a master plan sounds all-inclusive, it is important to note that it does not address the technical, operational, or planning aspects of navigation, flood risk management, or water level management. These items are covered in separate documents. Master plans focus on concepts and strategic planning rather than details of design, construction, or administration. So why was a revision of the master plan needed? Several factors were taken into consideration when deciding to revise the plan. These included the current master plan was completed in the late 1960s. The land use allocation plan, the most recent update to the plan, was completed in 1989. The current plan would better reflect user group changes and input, as well as changes in USACE policies, regulations, and processes. Master plans provide a framework for management practices and helps us be inclusive to existing and future needs. As you review the newly revised master plan, you will find a variety of topics discussed throughout the document. These topics include an inventory of project resources, land classification for management, public recreational opportunities and resources, anticipated influences on project operations and maintenance, and an evaluation of existing and future needs required to provide a balanced management plan to improve outdoor recreation opportunities and sustain natural resources. The diagram shown here illustrates our master plan revision process, which began in 2015. Input gathered during agency and public scoping meetings in 2015, 16, and 17 helped to inform the process in its early stages. And now we are again at a point where we are asking for public input. After this comment period closes, the master plan team will finalize the document in consideration of the comments received and send it to the Rock Island District Commander for review. Once signed by the commander, the master plan revision will be formally adopted for use by the project. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is one of the nation's leading federal providers of outdoor recreation, with more than 400 lake and river projects in 43 states. The Mississippi River Project recreation areas include 11 campgrounds, with a total of 548 campsites. The Mississippi River Visitor Center at Lock and Dam 15 in Rock Island, Illinois, and 22 boat access areas and day use areas. The plan also covers the project's 65 recreational outpoints, which include state parks, county and municipal run campgrounds, boat access and day use areas, as well as commercially run marinas and campgrounds. Another mission area covered by the master plan is the project's involvement in environmental stewardship activities. These activities include items such as forest stewardship and other habitat management, resource monitoring, endangered species, and invasive species management. Within the project's 60,000 acres of federal land, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has retained sole responsibility for managing more than 13,000 acres. The rest of the lands have been made available to other state and federal agencies for wildlife management under general plans and associated cooperative agreements. This includes over 12,000 acres managed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service as part of 3 national wildlife refuges, over 13,000 acres managed by the Iowa Department of Natural Resources, nearly 14,000 acres by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, and over 2,000 acres by the Missouri Department of Conservation. One of the main reasons the Mississippi River Project Master Plan needed to be updated was to incorporate revised federal regulations. An example of this is how land classifications and their definitions used in the 1989 Land Use Allocation Plan have changed over time. The chart here shows old versus new classification titles. Project operations remain the same. Recreation intensive use is now known as high density recreation. Natural area is now known as environmentally sensitive area. Wildlife management and recreation low density are now identified as multiple resource management with subclassifications of low density recreation, vegetation management, and/or wildlife management. And an additional classification was added known as water surface, with subclassifications of restricted, fish and wildlife sanctuary, no wake, or open recreation. Note, this classification was not used in the newly revised master plan due to existing navigation charts, U.S. Fish and Wildlife maps, and other state natural resource agency maps. When revising a master plan, several alternative plans are considered during the process as part of the environmental assessment documentation. The following alternatives were considered for this plan. Alternative 1, no action alternative. This reflects the existing master plan and land use allocation plan. Alternative 2, balanced focus, the tentatively preferred alternative. Alternative 3, conservation alternative. And alternative 4, recreation alternative. The 4 analyzed alternatives are shown with their associated acreages in this table. In comparing the differences in land classification acreages between alternative 1 and 2, with 1 being a current plan and 2 being the preferred alternative, high density recreation, low density recreation, and wildlife management decreased in acreage, while vegetation management, project operations, and environmentally sensitive areas increased. The changes in recreation reflects the impacts of flooding and the avoidance of future development in the floodplain, as well as removal of planned areas and undeveloped areas due to changes in budgets and sedimentation, reducing river access. This also includes designated land made available to the wildlife management agencies for wildlife management purposes as wildlife management. Wildlife management areas decrease due to the increased use of environmentally sensitive classification. This increase in environmentally sensitive areas over the previous natural area classification was due to a more inclusive definition, which changed the classification from a nature preserve perspective to allow for proper management of significant project resources. And the project operations areas increased due to the inclusion of levee rights of way under the flood risk reduction program. In the end, our tentatively preferred alternative was alternative 2, the balance focused, which includes the following land use distributions: wildlife management at 61%, environmentally sensitive at 32%, low density recreation at 2%, as well as project operations and vegetation management at 2%, and high density recreation at 1%. These images represent some of the mapping plates available in the revised master plan documents. The left shows color-coded land classifications for all project lands. The right shows an aerial image overlaid with managing agency information on all project lands. These maps help link plan locations through the use of colored overlays and classified area site labels. A third set of plates was developed as an appendix to the revised master plan and show updated information about lands made available to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Iowa Department of Natural Resources, Illinois Department of Natural Resources, and Missouri Department of Conservation for Wildlife Management under general plans and associated cooperative agreements. This concludes our presentation about the newly revised Mississippi River Project Master Plan. We thank you for taking time to review this information and look forward to hearing your input on the plan. As a reminder, public comments must be received by August 20th, 2021 to be considered for the plan and can be submitted using the various methods shown on the screen. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us at publicinvolvement@usace.army.mil. Thank you.